A reveler claims she pretended to be a psychic while at a festival and scared one man so much he wrote a will after she told him he was going to die. Sophia Burke managed to convince fellow festival goers that she had psychic abilities at Creamfields in Daresbury, Cheshire, last year and even predicted the age they were going to die. The 27-year-old had turned up at the festival alone, and after failing to find her friends, who'd arrived days earlier, she tagged along with a group of. One member of the group asked Sophia for a reading as she was giving off psychic vibes, and as her description of his personality was so accurate, she managed to convince the group of 30 that she was a red-haired witch. The bartender says she still gets terrified messages 6 months on from people whose death she predicted, and one of them even wrote a will after she informed him he wouldn't make it to 34. Sophia, from Dunfermline, Scotland, said, "I was at the bar and a guy approached me and said I was giving off psychic vibes because I had a crystal necklace on." She told fellow partygoers she knew their future. Image, Kennedy News and Media. He said, do me, so I asked him if he had a younger brother and he said he had, and I asked if he was popular at school and he said yes, and he couldn't believe how accurate I was being. Then his friend asked me to do a reading for him, so I told him he was insecure, but he masked it by being funny, and they said it was so true. I said things that were true, so they were convinced I was an actual psychic, but I was just going off the vibe I was getting. The more I was getting things right, I was thinking, am I psychic? They asked me to go back to their tent and do their mates, so I went, and there were around 30 people sat in a circle. As we approached, one of the guys announced that had found a red-haired witch. I thought it had all gone a bit far, so I said I didn't have my tarot cards with me. One of them said they had some playing cards, so I started telling them to choose a card each. The mum of two admits to freestyling with her readings, including a prediction that one man would come into earned money, and months later he reached out to tell her that she'd been right as he had a promotion at work. She couldn't find her friends at the festival. Image, Kennedy News and Media. She says she still gets messages. Image, Kennedy News and Media. And one man took Sophia's prediction that he was going to die at 33 so literally that he rushed home and had a will drawn up. Sophia said, one of them chose the 8 of spades, and I said 8 is for money and spades means you're in a bit of a hole and you're trying to dig yourself out of it, but I told him he was going to come into some money that would be earned. Then he texted me recently saying he'd got a promotion. One guy asked if I knew when people were going to die, so I started saying the first number that came into my mind, 63, 70. I told one poor guy that he was going to be 32 and he went pure white, so I changed it to 33. I thought he looked quite young, so I thought I was giving him a good few years. I kept bumping into people and they were asking if I was the red-haired witch and when they were going to die. Sophia says she still gets recognized as the red-haired witch in her hometown, despite it being 3 hours away from the Cheshire-based festival. Sophia said, the rave community is quite close, so I've had people coming up to me at other events in Scotland who say they know me from Creamfields. One guy the first bumped into said I'd told him he was ugly as a child, which is why he has a good personality, which he said was totally true. I just said I was sorry and I wasn't actually a psychic. Some partygoers have reached out to Sophia since asking if she could give their girlfriends a reading or to let her know that her predictions were correct. Now, they're trying to convince Sophia to invest in a crystal ball, set up a tent at this year's festival to make some extra cash. Most read. Princess Charlotte's sassy response when an aide tried to help her with a special gift. Elon Musk responds to Ukrainian plea for help by activating Starlink satellites. Ukraine's sailor tries to sink his Russian boss' £5 million luxury yacht and has no regrets. Sophia said, people say I should go this year and set up a tent to make some money. I won't be setting up a gazebo, but I'll probably spend my weekend telling people I am not psychic. I don't do that as a job. It was just a vibe I was feeling. Someone told me to bring a crystal ball, but I think it would be a bit heavy. A lot of guys were saying their girlfriends would love it and asked if I had a website. I keep getting messages from people saying I gave them a psychic reading. That wasn't my intention. I just say I am not a psychic and I was really drunk. I don't do it for a living, I was there for a dance. Read more. Russia aims rockets at second nuclear plant in Ukraine after capturing Chernobyl. Read more. Putin's £15 billion a day Ukraine invasion will fail if Kyiv can resist for 10 days.